All right, thank you very much, Chair. I'm mindful that my time is very short. I just want to begin with one thing, and that is there needs to be a clarification on data controllers. And today, when we're talking about the national offices and the national political parties, we are operating in an environment where the national party is the data controller of the information that they hold. Each individual member, be they a candidate, be they a local representative or a representative national level, are also individual data controllers. So Deputy Gould doesn't appear to understand that distinction in the line of questioning that he engaged in, and so clearly there's a little bit more training needed on the Sinn Féin front. I want to go to the Sinn Féin privacy notice. The privacy notice regarding the ABU database clearly states that the database comprises the electoral register and the marked electoral register with additional canvass information as set out below. The screenshot of the dashboard of the Sinn Féin database, the ABU database, as published by Philip Ryan, the independent journalist, shows that the headings on it are that people are canvassed for their hard support, soft support, strong opposition, unknown or not in, whether they voted in previous elections, whether or didn't vote. And then there are buttons for analytic statistics. There is an opportunity to create a canvas in relation to an individual. There are shared canvases, and then there's manual voter match. In the information that they say they collect, they don't appear to set out in their privacy notice what their lawful basis of processing is and what they're relying on. There seems to be an indication that they use legitimate interest. And so, Deputy O'Brien, in legitimate interest, for legitimate interest to be lawfully used as a basis of processing, that pertains only to members of an organisation, former members, or people who are actively engaged with the organisation. So where does your DPIA cover the use of the electoral register marked and unmarked in the ABU system?
So, as you know, of course, Mary, I'm not a lawyer, so let me try my best.
But you are here to answer for the party in relation to the system.
I absolutely am, and I'm going to do my very best to answer, Mary. The legal basis for the information that we collect in canvasses and put in the ABU system is Section 48 of the Data Protection Act of 2018. We believe all of the information that's on the system is fully compliant with that. And as you know, the Data Protection Commissioner is engaging extensively with our party at present. And if that office has any concerns, that office will let us know and we will address those.
Is your party publishing the DPIA?
We believe we are, first of all...
Yes or no question. Is your party publishing the DPIA?
We will strictly follow the advice and the guidance of the Data Protection Commissioner on that and all issues related to this matter.
Best practice would suggest that you need to do the DPIA.
And again, we'll take our guidance from the Data Protection Commissioner and be fully compliant with the law as recommended by the office holder, whose statutory function it is to regulate all of this with this respect.
All right. The ABU system was created in 2019, yet in 2018, the accounts for Sinn Féin show a computer and IT expenditure of 116,000. In 2019, it shows an expenditure of 88,500. And then in the 6 counties in that same year, it shows an expenditure of 41,500. What was that expenditure on?
I don't know. I'm here to answer questions in relation to the ABU system, which is from 2019, and the Electoral Reform Act, and I'm happy to answer questions on the issues I was invited to speak to.
All right, but this is about the use of the electoral register, and your privacy notice, as published in the public domain, says categorically that ABU system is the electoral register and marked register, yet you can't account for how the expenditure of IT and computers of what that expenditure is on.
Well, in the years preceding the ABU system and in the years that the ABU system is there, the party has lots of IT expenditure and we have lots of other online facilities, including websites, etc. The SIPO requirements allow us to stipulate that in the way it's presented in our returns. Like I said, I was asked a question earlier in terms of the costing of the ABU system. I'm more than happy to request that information from the party and to provide it by way of an email to the clerk today. All
right. On the legitimate interest, I suppose you also say that you use the data in the legitimate interest of pursuing our political activities, the Sinn Féin's political activities, that you don't disclose it to third parties other than those who provide a service to us which requires access to our database. So does that include third parties who operate data analytics? Does it, is it data analysts? Does it include services like that?
No, absolutely not. We don't employ any of those services. It would refer to the people who do the hard graft of getting people like me elected, which includes canvassers and volunteers, as well as members of the election directorate of the individual candidates at a general or local election level.
I would put it to you that goes beyond what are the obligations under data protection, the principles of GDPR, which are data minimisation, having a restricted access, and it goes way beyond that when you are disclosing the sort of hard, soft, strong opposition when they voted, that there is a potential in that abuse system clearly for analytics and statistics. So there are clear options in it to go way beyond merely what people have on clipboards in a paper trail. In the training manual that was also published, it says the ABU records multiple contacts, and we will use that to present info differently in time. And this provides for a practical recording to the verify engagement phases and identify phases. Can you explain what that is, please?
I have to say, whoever wrote that sentence needs to go and learn how to construct English language sentences properly. But my understanding is when you're entitled, as we are under Section 48 of the Act, to gather certain forms of information about voting intentions for the purposes of contesting elections, that's what this is all about. You can do that over a specified period of time, and therefore you can see, for example, if your vote is increasing or decreasing, and then you can respond both as a candidate and as a party in a constituency to ensure that the work you do on the ground enables you to get elected or not. That is all prescribed within the relevant section of the Act, or my interpretation of the relevant section of the Act for which this information is collected. But let me be very clear, this information is used for no other purpose than getting people like myself and Thomas elected. It is not cross-referenced with any other source of information. It is not used for any other purpose. It is not given to anybody outside of our canvass and campaign teams. And again, the Data Protection Commissioner is looking at all of this, and it is that office, rather than any member of this committee, who will determine whether or not, for example, we are compliant or not, or if we need to improve our systems or not.
It also, when it says about what the disclosure of information, it suggests that it also includes to database developers. Does the ABU system employ blockchain technology?
No.
Absolutely, categorically.
I don't think I could be clearer, Mary.
All right. So again, coming back to the manual and bearing in mind that you are
Chair, I was wondering, will I get an opportunity to come back in? I'm just looking at the time.
Excuse me, Deputy Gould, you had your time. Thank you very much.
Sorry,
there won't be. Sorry, Deputy Gould. Deputy Gould, please.
Deputy Gould.
Please, Deputy Gould.
Clearly, there is a cover-up going on that you need to talk over me, in the same way that you didn't allow our General Secretary to answer his question.
Thank you, Senator Seery-Kearney. I have 1 minute for Fianna Fáil to come back in for your last slot. I apologise that we've run over time and I'm going to have to cut you short. So Fianna Fáil, if you want to come in for that last
Chair,
slot,
can we allow Mary Seery-Kearney finish there? I think it was really rude how she was interrupted.
Were you finished? Was your question complete?
No, it wasn't.
Just finish. If you could just finish the question, then we might be able to get a written response or fit in a quick verbal response if possible.
Okay, it says that you can use the manual says you can use the search function of the ABU system to find a person you have engaged with online, tag them on as a social media engager, and follow up with the canvas on the doorstep. That in itself implies that more than the electoral register is being stored on that ABU system when it has that facility and it's in black and white in your own manual.
Thank you. Thank you, Senator Seery-Kearney.
I'll answer briefly, and it's a completely fair question, Mary, and that is the sentence that I have commented publicly on before, to say it's very badly worded. Just be very clear, if somebody engages with me on social media during the course of an election campaign, what I would like to be able to do is canvass that person on the door. If I engage with the person and they consensually let me know where they live, then when I'm going in to canvass that area and I have the canvass sheets with me, then what I'll try and do is talk to them in person. But we do not take any information without people's consent. We do not upload any information from social media onto the ABU system. It is purely the electoral register and information related to voting intentions, which we are legally entitled to collate under the Data Protection Act of 2018.
Well,
and
actually,
again,
your privacy notice is silent on consent, and your privacy notice is relying on legitimate interest, and you are failing in the transparency obligations on that.
Thanks. Look, I have to call a halt to that one there, but just in reference to the DPIA that Senator Seery-Kearney referenced and about publishing or not, would you furnish the committee with a copy of that when it's published?
What we'll do is we'll seek advice first from the Data Protection Commissioner, and subject to her advice, absolutely we'll assist the committee in whatever way possible.